I'm excited to share Jenn Masse. She is an ICF certified mindset and empowerment coach and also the owner of Conchi Coaching. She is passionate about empowering women and small business owners to reclaim their energy and increase their confidence so that they can unleash their authentic power. I love that. Her signature success formula is amazing. Awareness plus strategy plus mindset equals success. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. And through this strategy, she empowers her clients to live a life created for them, by them. Sit with that for like just 2 seconds, because that is powerful. And Jenn is incredibly powerful. I'm so excited to talk with you.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. So remind me when you graduated from iPEC.
I was also 2019.
Which is it's to me, it's incredible because it wasn't that long ago. And, when I had the opportunity to get to know you through conversations and also be on your website, and we'll include Jenn's information for you guys. Her website's amazing. And it was so relatable. The journey that brought you to coaching resonated with me. I think it would resonate with a lot of our viewers about sort of that moment that you found yourself at iPEC not so long ago. And it wasn't maybe the path that you thought you were going to be on. So I would love for you to just share a little bit about your journey to coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. So and my journey is really the basis of why I'm so passionate about the success formula and about empowering other women and small business owners to find their own path. And it's because I spent my entire life chasing somebody else's definition of success. And I don't think I realized that I was chasing somebody else's definition of success. Looking back on it, I now realize it, but it even goes back to, college, where I was an accounting major. I didn't want to be an accounting major. I hated accounting, but my dad just kept telling me, be an accounting major. You can do anything you want with accounting. So I suffered through the next 4 years. I entered into the corporate world as a CPA. I didn't actually pass the exam, but in a public accounting firm, and just constantly chasing the promotions and the raises and these careers that I thought would bring me happiness and fulfillment. And I, at some point, transitioned into like a sales and business development type role, because when I went to college, I'm like, I want marketing. So I tried to align myself with all of these different positions that I thought would bring me happiness and fulfillment. And I kept chasing these titles and these raises because that's what my parents told me. Like, you'll be successful when, you'll be happy when, just work, and save all this money. And when you retire, you can live the life of your dreams. And I did. I just kept chasing. And then it got to the point where I just became so burnt out. I was pigeonholing my way into these corners in the corporate world. Like, I was like, oh, this position is going to get me that, the title and the raise and the salary that I desire. I got my MBA in marketing because I'm like, oh, that'll bring me happiness and a raise, which never came. And it was just one of these things where I kept putting my life in other people's hands. And it got to the point after kind of an 18-month downward spiral when my company was acquired. I used to love my company. I thought I was a lifer. And then the culture completely changed. And it was this downward spiral, and I was miserable. I was absolutely miserable. I kept chasing. I kept feeling undervalued, underappreciated, underpaid. And one day I went into my boss's office and I pitched an idea for a project that would really help me empower and inspire an underserved segment of our sales team, like our market, for lack of a better term. And he didn't even finish saying no before I just broke down in ugly, snotty tears. And I'm not emotional. We're all emotional beings, but I hide my emotions behind a wall. And for me to all of a sudden be crying in my boss's office, it's like a light went off. And I'm like, this isn't okay. This isn't okay. This isn't how I should be living my life. He thankfully responded and was just like, you know what? Take 2 days off, go hike, go into nature, go do your thing. and come back on Monday. And I did. And it was when I was hiking that I realized this life isn't for me and I need to take control. I'm the only one that can take control of my future. Everything I've done has put me here. It's not other people, it's me. Mm. And I literally Googled careers that, like, how can I inspire and empower people? And I found iPEC. Mm. And iPEC spoke to me because I was so lost, and something about the energy leadership. And I didn't get it at the time. It sounded a little woo. But at the time when I was reading about all these different coaching programs, something about iPEC and how it was just like, we help you find yourself. And we help you discover who you are as a coach. That spoke to me. And I was like, that's it. That's my program, because I need to find myself before I can even pretend to coach other people. Yeah. So that's kind of as nutshelly as I can get.
Yeah. Well, there's so much there. And I have a feeling there's a lot of people out there going, yes, I get that. I feel that, from living a definition of success that belongs maybe to society or to what's projected out into the world, whether it's, the big house, the fancy cars, what success looks like. Mm-hmm. Or to those messages that we all pick up, right, from our parents, like, the American dream, like, this is the path. We go to high school, we graduate, we go to college, we get a job, and there's no space in between there.
Yeah. There's so many times when I was looking to leave corporate, my dad's in banking, and he's like, oh, well, you should, I don't even know what the position was, but you should do this. So-and-so that you from growing up, so-and-so, like, he gets $1 million in bonuses every year. I'm like, I don't want to spend the rest of my life being miserable just so I can make millions of dollars. What's the point in making millions of dollars if I'm working 80 hours a week and I can't use the millions of dollars?
Right.
Like, every time you dangle, I'm like, I don't want that. I don't know what I want, but I know I don't want that.
Yeah. And I want to sort of just go back, because it's a step in this process of discovering what does mean something to me. Because again, if you're chasing other people's dreams or other people's versions of success, you're never going to reach that place of happiness, which we heard in your story, right? I got the MBA, I got the promotion, I got the title, and there was still that emptiness inside. So creating goes back to that beautiful tag, creating the life that you want, starts with knowing what success means to you. Mm-hmm. And one of the things, with iPEC, when I talked with students or potential students about becoming part of the program, one of the things I share is that you are your own first client. And we dig into that a little bit and what that looks like. And you did a beautiful job really summing up your experience here, that in order to know who I am and who I want to be, I kind of have to ask myself those questions. Mm-hmm. And well, a lot of people think about a coach training program as learning how to be a coach so I can go be a coach out in the world. That's just the tip of the iceberg. And it sounds like you had an experience that allowed you to gain some new clarity. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that process.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I actually enrolled in iPEC, I was convinced that I was going to be a health and wellness coach, because that's what really drove me at corporate. The biggest thing that brought me fulfillment at corporate was being on the wellness committee. So I had a business name, I had business cards at the Mod 1, and I was so excited, like, I'm a health and wellness coach, and I just thought I was on this journey to finding myself. And then as I went through even that first module where we learn about this 7 levels of energy, and something inside me cracked. I can't, to this day, I don't know what cracked, but something inside me cracked. And I was like, oh my gosh, there is so much more to this world and there's so much power to health and wellness coaches, and there's so much power to business coaches, and there's so much power, but based on my story and what I was put on this earth to do, all of a sudden, my job is to empower and to inspire people. And for me, it was through that iPEC journey that I all of a sudden realized that my place in this world is to empower and inspire others to break free from that preconceived notion of success. Mm. So whether it's health and wellness, whether it's in their business, whether it's in a career transition, my job is just to help people find themselves and what brings them happiness. Yeah. And it was when I was going through iPEC in every module, and it took me a really long time. Like, I think I always knew I was going to be a business owner, but even through iPEC, breaking through all of those limiting beliefs that I had and all of those excuses that I was making and all of my self-sabotaging behaviors. Even through mod 3, when I'd be like, oh, well, I can't do this because of my husband and blah, blah, blah. And he would never allow it. And I was like, when has he ever said no to me? Right. Literally never. So it was like one of those things where I'm like, he's not the reason I'm not taking the leap. And it was really, like you said, like, I was my first client, but working with my peer coaches. And then later, once I graduated, hiring another certified coach was really what helped me be that mirror that we can't be for ourselves. Mm. It's like, we try so hard to be like, oh, I totally know how to coach myself. No, we don't.
Right.
No, we don't. We need somebody. So, I mean, I owe a lot of that journey and being like, yes, using it on myself, but also to my peer clients who really helped challenge me and say, what I'm hearing is, where's the disconnect? Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. I have little goosebumps all over. And it goes back to the whole, that conversation. And you're right. Like, we can coach ourselves. There's that, but you're right. You only hear what you want to hear. And the beauty of working with a coach is just what you said. The coach doesn't have to have all the answers. We've got the answers, but to hear back what you didn't even know you said and hear it in a different way is earth-shattering sometimes.
Yeah, I remember I give my first peer coach a lot of credit because I was a tough nut to crack in the beginning. I was a little bit more open by the second peer coach. So if you already are enrolled in iPEC and you're struggling with your first client, just give it time. Just give it time. You may have a control freak like me. You're like, no, I know what's best for me. No, I don't. But I can't tell you how many times my peer coaches were like, because I kept saying, like, I want to replace my salary. I want to do all these things. I want a business that looks like, that 6-digit salary and this and this. But really what I wanted was freedom. So I actually wanted to break away from all of that. And they just kept challenging me. And by saying, you're saying X and you're saying Y, and you're saying you want it at the same time. And you tell me how you're going to do that. And it wasn't until I really finally took the time and was open to receiving that I was like, oh, you're right. The tangibles that I want don't actually align with what I want. Because it was the emotions that I was going for. And I thought all these tangibles would bring me the emotions. And it was like, oh, no, they're not. Like, having 6 digits and 20 clients and all of this, all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what I really want, is happiness, freedom, and fulfillment in time and nature. So how do I let go of this so I can get what I actually want?
Right. Yeah. And it's a process. It is a process. And, to, like we like to share, to trust the process, that it doesn't happen automatically, but working with your peer coach and being open to exploring your values and being honest. I think there's an honesty, a deep honesty there, to detach from the things that you were saying you wanted, the 6-figure salary to replace my income. Because again, that's almost the fear of leaving behind everything that I should do or I'm supposed to do for what I want to do, and to embrace that.
Yes, it was very fear driven. I had to do a lot of work around my core values versus my fear values. I had to address my money mindset. I thought I had a great relationship with money until I realized that my attachment to my money and to the 401k and to saving was preventing me from leaving my corporate career. And it wasn't until I addressed that head on that all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, I've literally been saving since I was born for this moment.
Mm-hmm.
What's the use of having all of this money if I won't allow myself to use it?
To use it, right?
And it was that reframe that all of a sudden I was like, oh, wait, I have the savings. Like, we're not planning on having kids. We're not planning on doing all these other things. What am I saving this for? And it was that switch that all of a sudden allowed me to be like, oh, I can do this. I can do this. I have enough in savings that allows me to take the time to heal. Because when I left corporate, I had to take a solid 3 months to heal myself and then start growing my business.
Yeah. And
they do say, like, I mean, you always hear 18 months. And I would say that's when I found my flow.
Wow.
Because like you want it to click. And like I had clients and I was building, but it was really around that 18th month mark that I'm like, I get it now. I get it. I feel confident. I have a constant flow of clients. I know how I'm finding my clients. Like,
yes.
But I had the plan and I had the strategy that allowed me to build into where I am now.
Yeah. Literally, we're going to need a chapter 2 because you literally you were launching into a pandemic. I mean, it's a whole other chapter that we need to discuss on that, because I mean, I imagine the limiting beliefs that, so many of us had in that time period. I mean, you were literally launching into a pandemic.
And what I have to say, and this kind of circles back to the success formula, which I know we want to hit on today, is because I had workshopped my definition of success, and because my definition of success no longer had tangibles, I actually did okay emotionally through the pandemic, because I was able to pivot, because my definition of success is to empower and inspire others, to have freedom, and to really just show up as myself. And because I wasn't attached to a certain salary, and I recognize that I'm privileged, and I recognize that I don't have to be attached to a salary. But because I have that privilege and I have my definition of success, which I think has also been shaped by my privilege, I was able to pivot very quickly going into the pandemic. I was able to launch group coaching programs at a very discounted rate so I could empower and inspire more people. I started a book club. I think I counted up last year between working with a couple corporations to help their managers really helping their managers navigate what it's like to be a manager during a pandemic.
Yeah.
Through my book club, through these group coaching programs, I think I empowered at least 50 people last year. And that's not even counting who I touched on social media. Yeah. And without the pandemic, I probably would have been 10 to 20 because I was still growing.
Right.
So it's because I had reworkshopped my definition of success that I was actually able to touch more lives than I would have otherwise.
I thank you for sharing that. And I think it's a great lead in the time that we have left to talk about workshopping that success, because what I hear is such clarity around your mission and what success means. It's empowering people. And you chart back to that mission for success. Yeah. And so there's a freedom in that. There's direction. And so for people who are joining us today, myself included, talk a little bit about this process of creating clarity around what success means for you.
Yeah. So when you kind of pull back and look at my overall success formula, it's awareness plus strategy plus mindset equals success. And what I think is so pivotal about this formula is if you don't have a clear definition of success, the other steps don't really matter. Because if you're ambiguous in your definition of success, or you're chasing a definition of success that doesn't actually align to what you want, so kind of that preconceived notion of success, society's definition of success, something that leads to resistance within you, the awareness, the strategy, and the mindset you can step through that, but it's still going to be draining your energy. You're still going to be having that stress reaction and that catabolic energy. So it's awareness plus strategy plus mindset equals success. I just saw that pop up in the chat. So
and we'll include Jenn's, just so you guys know, we'll include Jenn's website address. She's got her formula right there. You can learn a little bit more about Jenn and the way that she works with clients. So don't worry. We'll
So through iPEC, you actually do a lot of the awareness, strategy, mindset aspect. So what I would love to focus on is actually the definition of success, because early in your career and when you're at iPEC, you're still breaking through those layers and layers and layers of what you've been raised to see, right? Like you've been influenced by your parents, your loved ones, your friends, your mentors, your teachers, whoever, everyone you've interacted with has influenced your definition of success. So a great exercise, can we go into like a 3-minute exercise to help people workshop?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So if you have a pen and paper handy or a cell phone, you can do this on a cell phone, just open up your memo field. I would love for you to just write down 5 to 10 words that you associate with success. So just take a couple seconds and write down 5 to 10 words that you associate with success. And that can be tangibles, it can be emotions, whatever it is, just write down what you associate with success. And if you want to drop in the chat, like done or something, when you're done, so we kind of know when to move on to the next step, that would be great.
I love that.
All right. Looks like people are maybe still writing.
Yeah.
So for interest of time, once you have that list of words, yay, got one. Lauren, thank you for dropping that in there and giving me permission to continue. So once you have that list of 5 to 10 words that you associate with success, I want you to look at your list. And I want you to do a gut check and see how those words make you feel. Do they make you feel good? Do they make you feel fulfilled? Do they bring up a feeling of anxiety or resistance or stress? How do they make you feel? And I also want you to ask, who influenced the words that you wrote down? Are they coming from within you? Are they coming from society? Are they coming from your boss, your parents, whoever else maybe raised you? And if those words make you feel anything other than relaxed, free, confident, or at ease, if those words don't bring you joy or a sense of fulfillment and happiness, then you need to redefine success. And in order to do that, write down words and emotions that would bring those feelings of happiness, joy, fulfillment, and freedom, that would make you feel confident and at ease. And that's your definition of success. Everything else to get there is a strategy. So that's like a very very, very short version of how we can workshop success. But I would love if people could drop in the chat, and then Carla, you and I can keep chatting, but what came up for you as we started walking through this? What did you discover as you started to create that list? And Carla, I'll start with you because
Yeah. Well, the one thing that I'm thinking about right now is, as you're the process of bringing up those words, disassociating them from success, that right at the end where you're like, just think about different words, words that make you happy. Because I think even the word success sometimes carries with it such weight and like meaning, whether it's your own meaning or society's meaning. So just the sheer exercise of detaching from the word success, I think could be really helpful.
Yeah.
And just, how do I want to feel at the end of the day? How do I want to feel when I bound out of bed in the morning? How do I want to feel throughout my day? And then, because again, success, I mean, I wrote down things like pride, and I know in my heart, like that's one of the things that I had to break free of from walking away from my last career, because I attached so much to my achievements in that job that walking away from it was like walking away from everything that I was, but it wasn't, but it still ended up on my list. So it's a fascinating process of detachment from, or reassigning what success means. It's sort of like a big circle.
Yeah. It goes into like the rules that we go through in iPEC, which is recreating rules that serve you. Yeah. So if your definition of success or whatever rules you have around success aren't serving you, or they're triggering that stress reaction and that catabolic draining energy, then take that step back and give yourself permission to take a breath and redefine it. So, Eva said, they came from her heart and are giving freedom. And Margot said, I don't have a strong definition. So, two different ends of the spectrum there. And like you said, like words that you thought you had detached from. And the great thing about the formula is you start with this definition that you think you have, but then part of the awareness and strategy, you're constantly cycling and reevaluating and being like, does this serve me? Yes or no? Yeah. Maybe I need to tweak it. And once I tweak it, go back to awareness. And now what do I have to change?
Right. And that's perfectly okay. Right. I mean, it's a process. We go back to that, and you don't have to have all of the answers right now, but give yourself that space and that time. And as I said, I could talk all day, but I want to honor your time, Jen, and I want to honor the time of all of these amazing people that joined us today. So just to let you know, we've already popped it in the chat, how you can get in touch with Jenn and Conchi Coaching and learn more about the work that she's doing to empower and inspire and connect people to that vision of success, the life that they create for themselves by themselves. I'm sure I twisted that, but it's amazing regardless. And so you've got Jenn's contact information. And then if you're watching this and thinking to yourself, I want to empower people, I want to inspire people, I want to learn more about myself, then maybe coach training through iPEC is something that you'd like to explore. You can reach out to me or one of my esteemed colleagues, the team of admissions coaches here at iPEC, and we'll include that information as well in the chat so you know how to connect with us. And then keep your eyes out on our programming. We have upcoming admissions coach chat, coffee chat, and coaching hours, which I think is on next week, Thursday, June 3rd at 9 a.m. You'll find information if you follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. You'll always know what's happening over in our corner. Jenn, thank you so much. I'll let you know when we're having our coffee date so that we can become BFFs.
Of course.
And thank you guys for joining us here today. There'll be a recording of this sent out to you. If you're watching the replay, thanks for joining us here, and just have an amazing rest of your day and an incredible week ahead. Take care.